old-fashioned tech to speak to Dan Sodergren, our technology expert this morning. Dan, hi.
Yeah, hi there. I'm hoping this one works.
That's better. Yeah, you're not in favour of a ban on mobile phones in schools, are you?
Well, this comes from a good place. Obviously, I'm a technologist and a futurist. Yes, I talk about the future of work and the future of education, and I've worked in education for 25 years, and about 50% of the people I know and love are teachers. So this comes from a good place. It's not anti-teacher. It's the fact that what happens often is we were looking a couple of years ago at trying to get more technology inside classrooms and laptops and more laptops, etc., and we weren't getting enough funding. Now there's a potential where we can start utilising mobile technology in the classrooms themselves, and now people are saying, actually, I think we should ban this bit of technology from the classroom. Now, and most people who aren't particularly geeky might not follow artificial intelligence and these other things, but this is happening right now. There's a massive revolution inside technology which allows people on their mobile phones, young people as well, to actually utilise artificial intelligence on the hop. So actually, teachers who are taught how to use artificial intelligence as well, which is really important, which is why we launched the AI teacher course. It's really, really important to get teachers to learn this stuff. But young people right now could actually alleviate a lot of the problems in the classroom by clever use of their mobile phone with artificial intelligence. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying this should be carte blanche and every young person should be able to do whatever they want on their mobile phone. Far from it. But I think getting rid of technology out of the classroom is almost the opposite to what we were trying to do 5 years ago. So it seems an odd thing. Parents are paying for young people to have this technology with them, which is a resource for the school, especially when mixed with artificial intelligence, because it allows teachers now to do things that they could never do before. So, yes, I'm going to come from that side. I also have a daughter myself, 13 going on 30, and we limit how much she can use her mobile phone. So I'm not being a hypocrite. I'm just saying, I think we've got to look at how do we use mobile phone technology as well as, this idea that we just simply ban it. Because I think banning it is a bit like saying we should ban personalised laptops or other bits of technology. I don't think that's particularly wise. I think what we really need to do is to fund the schools more and to pay teachers more. And that's the bit that we really need to be looking at, not the bit that, of course, politicians would like us to think about, which is potentially banning technology.
Yeah, but hang on, Dan. You and I have talked before about... this is all very well if we're in charge of the tech, but we know that the way the tech manipulates us. So last week in Scotland, we got a global study from the Organisation for Economic Cooperation and Development, which showed that 31% of Scottish school pupils admit being distracted by digital devices in most or every lesson. Now, that's not them using AI. That is them looking at social media, messaging their friends, picking up messages from parents, taking covert pictures of teachers. That's what's going on there.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is the thing about education, isn't it? So we've got to educate our young people how to use technology correctly, exactly the same as we might do at work. You could say, your boss could say to you, I'm afraid you're not allowed to bring your mobile phone, Stephen, because I know for a fact that sometimes you're doing things on your phone that you shouldn't be. You're not always working very hard. I'm sure you work extremely hard, Stephen. I know this for a fact that you do. But we used to have this bit where we might ban personal mobiles from work. That was a whole thing 10 years ago. And then we realised that was a bit silly. It's the same principle here. It's just educating young people on the proper use of technology in front of them. Now, can we trust all young people to do so? Well, that's really dependent on their ages, isn't it? But the idea of banning mobile phones, especially if you're going to try to do that with teenagers, I have a feeling that won't work out too well. I think that might become even more disruptive. However, I'm totally with teachers who are saying, actually, we should have a safe space where we can put these phones during lessons if someone's being disruptive. Yes, totally, you should do. And in fact, you could almost argue you could do that carte blanche. But what I'm saying is, do not get rid of technology out of the classroom. Bring mobile phones more into the curriculum and have self-directed learning. That's really important. That could be key to how these young people learn, because the next generation is going to use artificial intelligence and is going to use mobile phones. So let's not be banning them too much, because we could be actually doing something at a detriment.
12 days to Christmas, Dan. This is a hard question, I know, but what's the right age to give a child a mobile phone?
Well, it depends what kind of phone. And yeah, it's a really hard question. It's one we're wrestling with as a family at the moment as well. So depending on their age, and it really depends on brain development, but I would always be worried about giving a smartphone, because I'm old, so I'd call them that, a smartphone that can go on the internet with all these social mobile apps. I'd be worried about doing that before the age of 13 or 12, only because you're not meant to go on social media and those other things before then anyway. So I think that's the thing. If you're thinking about safety for your children, then I think, if you're doing it before they go to secondary school, I would say maybe that's a problem. But again, I'm not a psychologist, but we do know from a technological point of view, technology can be quite addictive before a certain age, which is why, of course, social media platforms are kind of trying to ban more and more people who are underage using them. So the mobile phone becomes a bit of a gateway to that whole experience. However, this is throwing the baby out with the bathwater, because in reality, if your child can be trusted to do positive things with a mobile phone, then why not? If they're watching TV on it, as long as it's got the filters and all those other things, why not? I didn't give my daughter one until she was past 11 and going up to the bigger school, but that was just me, and I was called old school and draconian to do so.
Well, I trust you. As a technologist, I trust your judgment on these things. Dan, thanks so much for your time this morning. Dan Sodergren, the